and welcome to your final week of Bio 148. I'm really excited for you all to have this week to connect all of the different ideas that we've been talking about together and to really focus in on connecting dots between different weeks and to central ideas about the world around you, actually. Okay, so this week I'm going to have you guys focusing on a final project, a final bio connection. And this final bio connection is worth 100 points, so that's the same amount as an exam, right? It's actually about the same amount as all of your bio connections put together. So just think about that and how much time you're going to need to put into this project, okay? For this project, I want you to use the prompt, I wonder, okay? And you can wonder about all kinds of things, okay? You can wonder about the world around you. You can wonder about a book that you've read or a movie you've watched. And I want you to connect it to all 5 weeks of content. And to do this, I would actually highly recommend that you kind of get out in nature, get out and play with just the world around you so that you can start making connections. And science has actually shown that when we disengage from our technology, we start to make these connections better. Another thing that seems to help is actually by putting your eyes side to side. I don't know how exactly it works, but it connects your right and left hemispheres of your brain a little bit better to be a little bit more creative and to be able to make connections that you maybe haven't seen otherwise. So if you just like shift your eyes back and forth, it for a while, it will help connect those two sides and have you be ready to go into what we call flow, where you're just kind of connecting all these different ideas together, okay? So I want to show you guys a little bit of mine, so hopefully you watched that little clip from Harry Potter. I actually was out hiking with my husband for our anniversary, and we were wondering about all kinds of things. I was debating what I was going to share with you. And then on the way home, I thought about this scene from Harry Potter where Mr. Ollivander was, I wonder, after Harry couldn't find a wand that suited him. And he thought the one that he did find that suited him was very curious. And that just seemed to fit with this final project, okay? So I want to show you guys kind of what I did. So I thought of that I wonder moment, and I'm like, oh, I wonder, I like this I wonder moment, and I'm going to take it and run with it. And I wonder if there's a magic gene, okay? So the very first thing that I did was I actually went into Canvas and found our schedule. So remember, if you go into modules and then to the tentative summer schedule, there's a schedule here that we mostly stuck to. There's a little bit of shifting around with some of the homework assignments and bio connections, some that I didn't even have you do. But the content for each week was about the same, okay? So here I wrote down just the content for each week, the major topics, okay? So overall course topics by week. So we had in week 1, decree, DNA structure and replication, chromosomes and mitosis, and regulation of gene expression. In week 2, we had translation, mutations, intro to ecology. Week 3, we had the human microbiome, diversity of life, including prokaryotes and eukaryotes, and we also talked a lot about phylogenies. In week 4, we had evolutionary mechanisms, including selection and 3 different types of selection, as well as speciation concepts. And then in week 5, we had meiosis and fertilization and crosses and Punnett squares. And I would highly suggest, I mean, you guys can just look at it. I would highly suggest writing all these down so that they're all fresh in your mind. And there's something about writing things down that actually has been proven to really help you make those connections as well. Okay, not typing it, but specifically writing it, okay? And then here is my mind map, and this is what I'm going to want you all to do, is to make a mind map somewhat like this, okay? You can do lots of other formats. I actually just discovered this, I don't know why I hadn't looked at it before, this Freeform app that I would have totally used instead, where I would have done, I wonder here in the middle, and that way I could really zoom in and out on different things that I wonder about, you know, like week 1, and then be able to zoom in and take additional notes on week 1 and then zoom out so that I don't have to see it when I want to work on week 2. So I would actually use Freeform instead of notes, but that's up to you. And here's the things that I wonder. So in week 1, I was thinking about babies having magical powers versus adults, and it seemed like the adults were using magic a lot more. And I was wondering if that was because of a change in expression or something else. In week 2, I was wondering if there is a magic gene in all living things and it's part of decree. And then I was thinking maybe it's only actually in eukaryotes. And so the part of decree kind of like connected back to week 1, actually, where we talked about decree. I was also thinking about whether or not there could be a mutation that could turn the magic gene on. So if all eukaryotes have this magic gene and it turns on, or if it had turned off at some point, and I don't know. I was curious about how that happened, which includes kind of the evolution of it afterwards, which I'll get to in a minute. And that was making me think about switches, if just the switch has to be turned on and off, and that connected me back to week number 1, right? And then also this idea that muggles could have magical babies, so maybe just a single point mutation and a switch could turn this on. And so for week 3, I was thinking about phylogenies mostly. There's other things I was thinking about, like you see eukaryotes over here. But for week 3, I was really wanting to know about whether or not all magical organisms were part of the same clade, or if the magic gene has appeared more than once, or maybe been turned on more than once. So here I was thinking about, let me erase this because that's for something else. So I was thinking about whether or not there's a magic gene, but then in all these other spots, maybe I had like mutations that appeared to turn on the magic gene. Maybe the magic gene had turned on and then turned off somehow and then had reappeared, or maybe it was actually the opposite and the magic gene had like broken multiple times, and so here it had turned off, and like muggles and horses and eagles and plants, right? So I was just curious how that had happened. And then who is more closely related to who? So are like horses and unicorns actually really close? Maybe phoenix and eagles, and plants and magical plants, and muggles and magical people. Okay, so I was wondering about that. And then in week 4, I was wondering if the magic mutation is always good in all environments, or if it could be bad in some environments, and if there's some directional selection or disruptive selection, or I don't know, maybe stabilizing selection. I couldn't really think about how that could work. But maybe if I keep on thinking about it, right? I was also thinking about speciation concepts. I was thinking about breaking down barriers and whether or not there could be hybridization between distant species to make centaurs and mandrakes, or if those are different things completely. I was also wondering about muggles and witches and wizards being the same species. It definitely seems like there is, and there's tons of gene flow that happens between them. But then what about like horses and unicorns? Are those the same, or are those different? And how could I use the BSC, the SC and the PSC to kind of determine if they're the same or different in all of these different species, like pairs that I was thinking about. And then in week 5, I was thinking about the gene itself, and if there was just one gene, and if there was, which was dominant. If it seems like magic is dominant to non-magic, because it seemed like most of the time magical people have magical offspring. And so I was thinking that the only time that you would have like a magical mom that didn't have magical offspring was if she was already heterozygote, and then she had kids with a muggle, then half of their offspring wouldn't get the capital M gene from her, the magic gene, and therefore wouldn't be magical. So this is what I was just thinking. You'll notice here that in my mind map, I do have one figure, but you guys don't have to have figures in here. What you do have to have is strong, clear connections to every single week, okay? Strong, clear connections to every week and handwritten, okay? For your final project, I do expect there to be a figure for each week, okay? That will be part of your grade, is to have a figure that connects your I wonder moment with everything else. And so I want you guys to be playing with this. I want you guys to feel free to edit your I wonder moment to be able to kind of connect all of this. So maybe this question that you originally came up with was really a question for week 2, but then you were able to take a step back to connect it to other things instead, okay? So feel free to edit. You can cross this out and write something else if you think of something else that you wanted there instead. This can be messy. Mine is messy. It looks like I drew a little gene over here, potentially of a switch as well. So maybe these are some ideas of things that I could add to my presentation, but I don't have to use them exactly as is. However, this is worth 20 points. This did take me a little while, so it only took me 5 or 10 minutes to write all this down, but it took me a while to make all these connections, and I expect it to take you guys a while to make connections to each week as well. Okay, so do take your time on this. Have fun and play with this. You guys could do it on Bluey. Just caught Bluey. So have fun with this. Enjoy this last week where you're getting to make these connections. You're not having to learn new content. But I think a big part of being a biologist, being a scientist, is making good connections between things. And so let yourself get into a mindset where you can do that. I highly recommend like a walk and getting away from kind of your obligations, putting your to-do list of other things to the side, and just kind of letting your mind wander about the different curiosities that surround you. All right, have fun with it, and I will see you all next week. I'm looking forward to seeing all of these. A lot of your bio connections have been great, and so I'm looking forward to seeing this as well. Bye.